What's going on, guys? TKD123 back here again with a video, and today I want to discuss a game called Lawbreakers. On Lawbreakers, of course, you guys saw my beta coverage and everything. You guys know I enjoyed the hell out of that game, and if you guys see me on Twitter lately, you guys know that I'm also very addicted to this game right now. And I woke up today, I'm like, you know what, let me make a guide to one of the characters in Lawbreakers, one of my favorite characters at that. And I don't know if this will be a regular thing. This might be if you guys enjoy the content here, but I decided let me just review and just do an overall Lawbreakers guide on the Enforcer. Now, of course, we can make clear comparisons to a certain character in a certain other game that Bosky really hates when people compare, but beside the point, we're going to talk about the Enforcer here. He has a primary and secondary. The primary is called the Air Raider Assault Rifle, which is an assault rifle that provides a superior stability even in anomalous gravity. So this is basically going to be a primary. This is like your bread and butter. It's your typical assault rifle. Everything's pretty much dandy here. It has a 35 magazine, so you can have 34 rounds to go off of, but just be aware that, you know, a lot of times in game, you know, those 35 bullets with the pace of the game, with how fast people are moving and everything, that might not be enough to take down your opponents. Just keep that aware that those 35 shots, you know, again, this is an assault rifle that has kind of a weaker damage point, and obviously that is for balancing reasons, but you know, just be wary of that. Just be aware that, you know, just don't be surprised when you have an enemy and, you know, you burn all those 35 bullets in them and they just kind of don't die. You know, it just happens from time to time. You gotta make sure you're aware of that, and that's where, if you so happen to run out of your whole clip in your area assault rifle, you have your Badger pistol as your secondary. Now, the Badger pistol is one of the most unique weapons here in Lawbreakers because it doesn't really have any sort of ammo capacity in terms of like a bullet per se, because it's not really firing bullets. It's firing bolts of electricity, so it shocks your enemies to death. And this one has 6 shots in it overall, and I found that, you know, this one obviously at long distances, it's not gonna, you know, do well at all. Really, it's not gonna do any work, but you know, in terms of in close range combat, it is very effective. I enjoyed using it a lot of times, and there are a couple tips that I'm going to teach you guys later on in this whole guide, where I'm showing you guys how to use the Badger pistol to its 100% efficiency. That was your weapons. Let's go over now your abilities as the Enforcer. Now, the first one we have here is the EMP grenade, which is by pressing R1 or E on the keyboard for on PC and everything. And so what the EMP grenade reads as follows: is a crowd control grenade that cancels active enemy abilities and prevents additional use by any opponents caught in the nullification zone. All that talk, all that verbiage, basically here, this is a grenade that cancels out the enemy's use and ability to use their actual abilities that they have as well. So that's basically what it does here. It also does a tad bit of damage, but honestly, it's not going to help you a lot of times. It's not going to be, you know, your saving grace most times. So it does do a little bit of damage. Just be known that that damage is very small that it does, so it won't, you know, be that effective as a, you know, frag grenade, if you will. And honestly, the EMP grenade I found at times to be a little bit wasteful in a lot of ways. You know, I didn't find it personally that effective. There were times where I was on like a capture point or on a blitzball location, and that helped me a lot with people, you know, being able to not being able to use their supers and everything. So at times it was pretty useful, but for the most part, I would say it was kind of something that I wouldn't rely on. It wasn't really a crutch for me personally. Now, what is, I feel, and what I call the soul of the Enforcer here, that is the time dilation field, a speed boost that manipulates local gravity around the Enforcer. Movement, firing, and reload speeds are greatly increased for anyone within range of his distortion. Now, again, all that talk, you know, basically in layman's terms, this is your sprint ability. This is triggered by using L1 or shift on the keyboard if you're on PC. And you know, this is not really just a sprint ability because it does a lot more than just boost your movement speed. What it does, it also boosts your rate of fire, your reload speeds, and your boost movements as well. And also not even for yourself, but even for your teammates that are around you as well. So you can use it in a very cool fashion. If you guys are running towards the capture point, you could all, you know, be running super fast and everything if one of your teammates trigger the, you know, their actual sprint ability. So it could definitely be a good thing if you're in a team-oriented environment as well. And lastly here, let's discuss the ultimate here in the Enforcer. It is caused by pressing the O button or the Q button on the keyboard, and this is called the Bloodhound Rockets. Now, shoulder-mounted rocket launcher that fires a barrage of rockets that actively seek out and destroy their targets with ease. And this is on, I believe, like a 1-minute timer. It feels like 60 seconds, you know, and it feels like you will get this a lot in game. And I feel like with this game overall, you know, with Lawbreakers, a lot of the ultimates really do charge a lot faster than Overwatch, let's say, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of them really do recharge quick, and you'll be able to get the Bloodhound rockets in multiple times in a single game. You know, you'll get it plenty of times. There's no worry about, oh, you not being able to get it it, everyone will be able to get their bullet run rockets really fast, really easy. And yeah, like I said in the description, it is just a rocket that somehow, you know, just manifests over time above your shoulder, and then it shoots 4 rockets, and they are heat seeking and everything, so it's a very good thing there. I love the bullet run rockets. At first I found them kind of you know, but then I will teach you later on how I was actually confused about these rockets and how to better use them. Now let's go over some tips and tricks I have with the Enforcer. Now just keep in mind, I played a lot of the Enforcer during the beta, and now with the launch of the game, I am playing a ton of him. I feel that he is one of my great characters I go to, one of my go-to characters at that. And I got 3 tips here to teach you all. Now the first one here is to whip out your Badger at healing stations. Now most times on the map at a healing station, they are put in areas in the map that are very high traffic and very close quarters, right? So there'll be a lot of times where you'll be right around the corner from a pathway that anyone can just come down and murk you while you are healing, right? So what I do personally is I whip out my Badger at that time. That way I have an advantage in the close range combat. If it ever comes down to that, when I'm at a healing station, I can have the advantage in a close quarters combat because I have the Badger out. Next up here, this tip is pretty much a universal Lawbreakers tip. It's not even so much focused on the Enforcer, but because the Enforcer has an assault rifle that is fully automatic and can fire a lot of rounds in a quick short of time, this tip is very essential for the Enforcer as well. So when you go into a anti-gravity area, right, one of those zero gravity zones that you have across the maps on all Lawbreakers maps, you can actually hold down the L3 and shoot behind you. Now of course this is able to be used, you know, when you're not in those areas, but when you're in these areas, what you can do is you can go up into the air and then hold down the L3, and you will start firing your assault rifle behind your back, thus propelling you forward in a more faster way. So that's also a little tip there. If you're playing blitzball, this is very essential, stuff like that, even though you can't fire, you know, with the blitzball, but still it's pretty, you know, overall it's a pretty good tip, I'd say, you know what I'm saying? To move faster, let's say you run out of your time dilation field in your sprint, you can switch to this if you're in the anti-gravity mode and move a little faster than everyone else. And lastly here, what was kind of the bane of my existence in the beta, right? When I first was playing the Enforcer, I did not understand the blood hot rockets. I did not understand the ultimate, right? It was super weird for me. I didn't understand when they started firing. It was on delay. I thought it was on delay, but it is on delay. But there are 2 different types of modes that you can do with the blood hot rockets. So one, you can wait until the blood hot rockets start firing for you, and they will start targeting people in your line of sight and everything. Or what you should be doing is you should be pressing O or Q again. So you should be pressing, you know, O or Q for the first time to activate it, and then when you have a target in sight, when you have its, you know, rocket reticle lock onto a target, you can press O or Q again to start firing the rockets, so that way you don't have to wait for the auto fire to happen with the bloodhound rockets. And this obviously will allow you to better and effectively more kill people quickly, because, you know, that was kind of the bane of my existence during the beta. I'd be playing the Enforcer, I loved it, but it was just the ultimate. I would, you know, lock onto a target and kind of wait and not realize that I could just shoot the rockets whenever I want to, as opposed to just waiting for the auto fire to kick in. So definitely take advantage of that. So yeah, overall I feel like the Enforcer is one of the better characters here in Lawbreakers. I feel like it's definitely one of my favorites, if not even my favorite as well. You know, a lot of people are saying that the Enforcer is a little bit OP, a little bit of balancing it needs to happen on the Enforcer side and everything. I don't know if I kind of agree with that. I kind of do, but I kind of don't, because I feel like he's a little bit more balanced. I feel like a lot of people, you know, that are other people in Lawbreakers actually have a lot of advantages over him as well. So for me, I feel like, you know, I guess you could probably say he's a little bit OP, maybe a little bit OP, but I don't think he's crazy OP where we're gonna need like a patch tomorrow. I feel like, you know, the Enforcer is pretty balanced in my opinion. But ladies and gentlemen, that was my guide on the Enforcer for Lawbreakers. If you watched, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share down below. Also, let me know down below in the comments what character do you want me to go over next in the guide. Maybe I can do this again. Maybe I can do this, you know, maybe I can do this a pretty regular thing on the channel. Who knows what's gonna happen? I just love Lawbreakers this much, and I wanted to make a little guide for the Enforcer. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and share down below. And I appreciate it for being me. Thanks for watching, and as always, I got you.